Okay, just came into my boiler room and I did notice, you see it, little smoke coming up through there. This hopper is pretty much plumb full. So I suspect that I need to clean it. Just like anything else, it flows through the least path of resistance. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and take the fan off. And I'm gonna pull my stack off. I'll get it off. I'll inspect it. It's like I'm pulling up through the tube there, not just going out to the exhaust chamber. So I'm burning that up in there. My ash is doing well. I mean, I am ashing. I'm ashing pretty good. So I believe I just need to go in there and do her cleaning. She's been running since July. I've already put in her about, I don't know, I put in about 6 tons of coal since July. Burning 24/7. So right now I've got the switch off, and my circulator is still going because it's not part of that circuit. I got a return of about 150 degree water, and this one here is about 155. Okay, I've got it tore apart now. We are quite dirty. I believe that pretty much got plugged simply because I was banging on it to try to get it out. So a lot of stuff might have fallen and plugged. Who knows? But anyway, it is filthy. We'll clean that out. There's supposed to be a cone down there, and I'll show you that after it's cleaned. Got the fan off. You still see smoke. Of course, it's hot in there. Natural dry. I mean, it should come right through here, come through this fan, and then right out here, and then you can see it back up in there where it goes into the chimney. But anyway, I'll get all this cleaned up, and I'll give you a video. I'll give you a look at it after it's all cleaned, and then put back together, and then see if we remedied the problem. But I believe we will. This is pretty filthy. We got her all cleaned out now, and you can see the funnel. It's opened. The port's open. Got that all cleaned out. While you have this open, inspect your gasket. I cleaned the fan. Just got me a little brush, wire brush. Cleaned all the blades. Don't want to build up in there because then it'll get on balance and it'll wipe out your bearings. That hole that's in the chamber, that's the other end of it right there. So your gases just follow the smoke. It comes out this way, suction to the fan, goes out that fan, and it swirls around and then goes right into that hole there. So we got a good path. Got rid of all that buildup. Where this buildup came from, who knows? But anyway, I'll go through this again in the summer and see what the stoker coal, what kind of buildup I've got with that. But cleaned all this up here. Got me a little wire wheel on my grinder and got all that cleaned up. Same thing with this edge. This is your seal. This is what seals up along that rope gasket. So this high temp right here gasket. So we'll get all that put back together, and I'll fire it back up, and then we see where we're at. It's all put back together. Got it all caulked up. It's off. I got the grate off. We'll go ahead and turn it on. We're pretty low on temperature. We're low on water temperature now. It won't take much to get this thing back up to temperature. What I do recommend though is go inside your house and turn your furnace off while you have this down, or else your electric heat will kick on. I mean, I don't want my electric heat kicked on. It's warm enough in my house. Fan's running good. Let's see what we got outside here. Not much for smoke. Won't take long before we get a fire in here. Well, we already got a fire in there. Up in there. That thing is what I noticed too is my fire wasn't as raging. You close up the exhaust full of ash and build up and whatnot, you don't have a good airflow, so therefore it's not doing much for you. You can even look there in a crack if you can see it. It's going pretty good in there. I know there's no smoke in that. Not what it was. I'm going to turn that off for now. See if we can get some good fire going. But yeah, it won't take long. I mean, we got about 100 degrees in the boiler. I have no call, so it's just circulating. 100 degrees coming back. I'll bring it up to temperature. I'll get back with you. Okay, we've been running about 10 minutes now. Fire's going really good. We're up to about 140 there. About 130 coming back. Ash temperature come up. I went ahead and turned that ashing off simply because I had my door wide open. It's only about 50 degrees outside. So my room was really cool. And right now we're about 60 degrees in my room. Normally I'm about 80 to 90 degrees in here. And if I'm sucking all that cool air across that thermocouple down for that ashing, I'm just gonna do some nonsense ashing, some unnecessary ashing. But a couple of key things when I realized after the fact was when I shut this thing off with the switch right here, my circulator pump still circulates to the house, which is what I want it to do. But in turn, if my house calls for heat, I'm gonna be pulling off this boiler water for heat. Is what happens, it draws that boiler water temperature down quite a bit, which is okay when you're in there cleaning, but it ain't okay if you got an electric backup heat. You got electric backup heat, then is what happens is if you boil, the way I have mine done, if my boiler water temperature isn't up to temperature, I've got a strap-on switch there that will open on rise, so therefore if my temperature dropped, it will close, and actually closes in my thermostat wire that calls for my heater. So we got another video that explains that a little bit more. But so I don't know if my electric heat kicked on. I hope it didn't. So I ran back inside and I made sure my furnace was off. Just because I was down on temperature quite a bit on my boiler water, and I ain't paying for electric heat. I got cold. But anyway, so that was one thing I learned. Another thing is what happened the last, I don't know, day and a half, I noticed that my fire wasn't raging as much as normal. And so therefore, then I noticed some smoke inside my hopper. So I went ahead and topped it off full of coal yesterday and added coal to it yesterday. And when I did, I came back home and I realized I still had smoke coming from there. So the only thing that can do that is it flows to least past resistance, and so I must have been backed up in my chambers and whatnot, and my path of my flue gas. So I went ahead and that's why I started this video, so we can go ahead and just clean it all out. And it was pretty dirty, but it's clean now and it's flowing really well. And like I said, we've been running for now probably about 15 minutes, and we're about 150 degrees there. And now we're about 140, so it does not take long at all for this thing to catch up to temperature. My stack temperature, we're right about 240. But like I said, we're in the 50s right now, maybe 40s outside. It's not too bad. We're fixing to get down into single digits and below the zero starting Sunday. This room here will get about 80, 85 degrees. So, yep, we're all good and it's flowing better. And first time I've ever cleaned it. Been running since July, non-stop. Burned about 5 tons of lump coal crushed up. That was a year old and dry, so I think that was a lot of my problems there. But now that I'm burning some good Stoker fresh oiled coal, it's doing a lot better. Okay, it's been about an hour. It's 12 o'clock noon. I fired this thing up by 11 o'clock after the cleaning. It's been about an hour. I went inside and even took a shower and got cleaned up. I don't know how long it's been off. 71, 80, yeah, about 180. Then coming back, we're about 150, 60, 70, 80. So we're up to temperature. My ash temperature, I didn't do much ashing. I needed the room to warm up. But we're at, focus on that, at 152. And the room temperature is creeping up to about 70 now. And we're coming back down on temperature on the stack since we've been off. So, and no smoke. We burned a little bit of coal, but no smoke. All is well. Amazing how things run when they're clean.